Hello.
Hello, welcome to Let's Play Oddworld Abe's Exoddus. This is the second game in the Oddworld series that came out a year after Oddworld Abe's Odyssey. Came out for both the PlayStation and the PC. We are playing the PlayStation version, and it was the last Oddworld game to be on a Sony console for quite a while, against everyone's shock, believe it or not. It was a big deal that happened. So with Oddworld, I like to just jump right into it. If you don't know what's going on, if this is your first time seeing an Oddworld game, there's a cute little prologue cutscene that they made. I'll post a separate video, you could check it out then. Even if you know what happened, you should watch it. It's funny. For the rest of us, let's go and see what's going on in Oddworld.
Is Scott hand branded on Moon's odd face? This hero may free the Modakan grace. With skin of blue and spirit guides too. Only he can save our bones from brew. But shall he fall to block and yoke? Modakan nation be doomed to croak. This is Necrum. Long ago, the Budakans brought their dead here. That was before the Gluckans started stealing our bones. They used Budakan slaves to do it. Blind ones that couldn't see. The Gluckans didn't want anyone to know what they were digging up. And no one ever did. Not until the spirits of those bones paid me a visit. That's me. My name is Abe. I had just returned from saving 99 Budakans from Rupture Farms. That's when they came to see me.
Abe, you're the savior of the Moodakans, so you gotta help us.
The Gluckans are digging up our bones.
You gotta come to Necrum, Abe. Quickly.
We had to do something, so me and some others left to search for Necrum. Our journey started well. We were kind of excited.
Abe, you're just the greatest.
Okay. But by lunchtime, we were getting pretty tired.
Come on. Okay. How much longer?
By dinner, it was unbearable.
It's 'cause you were in this mess.
This bites!
Can I go home?
Oh. Something big. Where is that coming? Hey, look at that. It's a bone. I think we're close. Let's go. Yeah, let's go. We're not supposed to be here. Look out, Abe!
Something smells.
Ew.
Alright, that's the end of cutscene time. Here's the game. This is Oddworld. It's Oddworld. It controls a lot like Abe's Odyssey. Abe can do all the things that we have come to love him doing, and the game does all the things that we have come to love it doing, like having a secret area at the very first screen of the game. Covering secret areas is a little weird because it introduces a lot of stuff that normal players who play through the first time don't usually see until way later on. For example, the guys that are yelling at us are called flying sligs. Instead of shooting us, they toss bombs at us while chasing us. Unlike most enemies, it's actually pretty easy to run away from them, but they can still mess you up pretty good if you stop running at all. Instead of shooting you, they just throw bombs, and those bombs kind of have a bit of range. Case in point, if I did not move at the last second there, I would have been pretty gone. Their aim is pretty good. That being said, this secret area it's a good microcosm of what Abe's Exoddus is about, in that it's sort of helping your friends, the Mudokons, escape these industrial facilities through communication. And because the Mudokons basically have the minds of lemmings, you have to hold their hands through all these dangerous, terrible, dangerous traps, and sort of hope that they don't freak out. That being said, there are some changes to the conversation formula. Abe has a lot more things to say. For one thing, you can talk to more than one Mudokon, which is a godsend. And you can make them work sometimes when the situation calls for it. Those Oddworld inhabitants was very proud of those wheel things. They show up a lot. Those valves. In case you haven't noticed, we saved a lot of Mudokons already in the first 3 minutes of the game. Oddworld Abe's Exoddus has 300 guys to save. In comparison, Oddworld Abe's Odyssey had 100 Mudokons, so that's 3 times as many dudes to save, which means way more guys packed into tighter spots. Oddworld New and Tasty does this too, the remake of the first game, where it had 300 dudes to save, but instead of making new areas, it just packed a bunch of more guys into older places, which I have problems with, but that is neither here nor there. Oddworld Abe's Exoddus is not as bad about that. This game is huge. It's got a lot of screen real estate. Now, another thing that's been added to Exoddus is the moods for the Mudokons, and these are basically just another way to kind of mess up your plans, because sometimes Mudokons will have varying moods depending on where they are or how they're treated. Most of them are just, they won't listen to you, but the blind ones are an exception. We'll get to the blind ones later. They're not important right now. We're gonna learn about the other ones right now. Abe doesn't really move any different than the first game. All his moves are the same. It's really just his vocabulary that's been tweaked. For the most part, the whole actual saving process of Mudokons remains the same. They'll just run to things. But when you get a real moody muddy here, he just won't do anything. Keep in mind that slapping them won't make it any better, much like in real life. But most of the time they just won't respond at all until you pat them on the shoulder. That's easy. That's so easy to make people happy. You should try it. It's a good game to play for your kids. Now on the opposite end of the spectrum, there are the hysterical, super jolly Mudokons. These guys have no problem following you. They will follow you to the ends of the earth. But that is also bad in its own way, in that if you want them to work, they won't work, and if you need them to be quiet, they will absolutely not be quiet. And that can get you gunned down pretty fast. That being said, I don't think the hysterical Mudokons are as bad as the angry Mudokons. Now here's something that is probably not very impressive to you, the person watching this in 2014, but back in 1998-99, one of those years, this is a revolutionary thing. On a console game too. The quicksave method fixes a big problem in Abe's Odyssey, where the checkpoints were very far apart from each other. I mean, in a sadistic way. With the quicksave here, you are now able to make your own checkpoints, and you won't have to redo sometimes up to 30 to 45 minutes of gameplay if you happen to die. That being said, it also depends on you actually remembering the quicksave, and it can be pretty painful if you forget. So here's a situation where the hysterical Mudokons would have gotten us killed, because that guy would have woken up right quickly. They also wouldn't have done the thing here. I really need to stress how important it is to be able to talk to more than one Mudokon at once. In Odyssey, granted in Odyssey it was a little bit forgiving because there weren't that many dudes in the first place, but still it ended up in a lot of unnecessary backtracking and babying that didn't have to happen. So let's demonstrate the quick save for a moment. Let's say you did a bad jump like that. If you quick saved like a good boy, the game loads up right where you left off. So be aware of it, use it frequently. I won't be using it frequently because it'd be kind of annoying to watch me pausing and unpausing a bunch of times. And, you know, I need to assert confidence over myself and dominance over you, the viewer, who does not know what's going on. I need to lead you. And if I just quick save over and over, that won't lead to anything. Now here's the shaded areas. If you're in the shadow, dudes can't see you. You can slap sligs and they won't do anything. You can't kill them by slapping them, but it's just a thing you can do. Sligs, by the way, since I haven't really mentioned them yet, are going to be the main problem, the main enemies in this game. They walk back and forth, usually with some sort of pattern, and if they see you, they will shoot you on sight, and you will die immediately upon getting shot, as people are wont to do. So I would say they're more dangerous than the flying sligs, even though they are not as versatile, just because the positions they are put in make them harder to avoid. You gotta pay close attention to their patterns. Speaking of patterns, these are UXB bombs, and very simply, you just press them when they're green. I know a lot of people who, for whatever reason, had a lot of trouble with these mines, and for some people it made them stop playing the game. Granted, we were all 10 years old, so who knows. People don't like it when games are hard. There's one more thing that I think is a pretty important mechanic that's been added into Exoddus, although it's not as heavily advertised as some of the other stuff we've seen so far. So, Abe can possess enemies, Sligs. This is nothing new. Slig does everything it can do from the first game. It doesn't say anything new. It can shoot, which is very fun, but you know, nothing big. Here's a secret area. Here's some teleporters. They just teleport you to the background. Now, in Odyssey, Sligs in the background were not things you could possess. You possessed it once, and you couldn't do anything with it. In this game, you do it a lot. And as you can see, I'm shooting to the foreground here. You couldn't do that in Odyssey. Like, there was never a time where you had to possess a guy in the background so he could do something to the foreground. And in Exoddus, this ends up becoming a pretty big thing in a lot of places to kind of wait for the right spot to shoot in the foreground. That guy's getting beat up a lot, and I feel really bad for him. I'm sorry. I still feel a lot for them. What scares me about shooting in the foreground is I feel like the hit detection is shoddy, and there is a very real chance of shooting the wrong thing by accident. That right there made my heart stop for a second, because it almost looked like I shot the dude I wanted to save. But that's not what happened. So we're good. Good job. Now we can go backtrack, and save him. Speed it up, because there's a bit of a walk. Whenever Mudokons go through that yellow laughing gas stuff, they'll become hysterical immediately, no matter what mood they are in. It doesn't affect Abe at all, and I'm not even gonna begin trying to question why it doesn't affect him. Like, he's a spirit animal person. Like, he can just do that. He can already do a lot of things normal Mudokons cannot do, so it's not a big deal. Now, our final mood for the day. One of these guys is depressed, because he's blue. Get it? You can make them happy, just like you make angry people happy, by patting them on the shoulder. Curing depression is just that easy. Now, depressed Mudokons and angry Mudokons aren't really that much different. They do like have very distinct things about them, but essentially they're both just guys that won't do what you ask them to do. Angry Mudokons sometimes are put in spots where they're actively trying to kill you, but depressed Mudokons, you just don't want any of their friends to die around them, or they will kill themselves. And since this is a rescue everyone run, that really won't be an issue. So just think of depressed Mudokons as passive, angry Mudokons. Which might be pretty accurate in real life too. I don't know. Alright, before we end this video, we got one final group to take care of. It's the real bunch of schmucks that walked along the desert with us. Those guys, don't expect anything from those guys, because they're losers, if you ask me. They're just a whole bunch of losers. They do demonstrate something that I think is another important mechanical tweak in the Alive engine. As you can see, these guys are walking off from their own free will. I don't have to goad them to walk off the ledge, which takes a very long time in Odyssey sometimes. This is great, and I love that a lot, and I'm very glad that's been changed. I feel like someone was listening to me as a child. Well, once we turn these valves, that'll be the end of this first video. Next time, we'll be getting deeper into Necrum mines and learn more about what the bones are being used for.